Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Kane from Kane Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to record your guitar with your computer. If you don't have an amplifier or you don't have a way of recording your amplifier, then this is a great alternative. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is get yourself one of these. Sorry for the mess on my desk, but whatever. But this little machine here is called an audio interface, and what this does is that you can plug in your instruments into these inputs right here, and this plugs into your computer through USB. I've got mine plugged in somewhere back in there in that mess of cables, and it turns your instrument signals into something that your computer can use. This particular model is the Audio Box USB from PreSonus. This costs about $100, but I've seen cheaper ones, particularly the Behringer UM2, which sells for around $50. So yeah, you plug your 1/4-inch cable into these instrument inputs here. Just like, let me see if I can, there we go. So yeah, you just plug it in right there, and there's these little lights here. These little red lights next to these volume knobs right here will tell you if the signal is clipping, and if it's clipping, that means that it's too loud and is getting distorted. If those lights are turning red, that means that you're going to want to lower the volume on your guitar, and if you think that lowering the volume on your guitar kind of takes away the tone, then you're going to want to invest in a DI box to convert the signals from your guitar into something more usable for your audio interface. Okay, so for an example, I'm going to be using the song that I've been using as my theme song for Kane Studios. It's an unfinished song called Empty. I'm planning on re-recording all these guitars and recording vocals. But yeah, let's just go ahead and use this. So here's what the guitar sounds like without any amp simulation on it. Sounds so fucking brutal. But we're gonna change that in a bit. So go ahead and open your effects window and look for your amp modeler inside the list of plugins that you have. If your DAW does not come with an amp modeler, then that's fine. You can use one of the many free amp modelers that are out there on the internet. I'll provide some links in the description. The examples that I'm going to use here are some of the free ones that are on those links. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of my favorite amps. Let me see here, the Emissary, there we go. The Emissary by Ignite Amps. So just like a real half stack, your virtual amp is going to need the head and the cab, and this is just the head. So let me close this, and I'm going to also add the cab, and I'm going to be using the cab. And I have a bunch of different versions of the same thing here. I think I need to do some spring cleaning on my computer and remove some redundant plugins from there, but let's just go ahead and open this. And what this is an impulse response loader. And don't ask me what an impulse response actually is, because I don't really know. But this is going to act like the cabinet of your guitar rig. So if I click on the little folder icon right here, I can browse my documents for where I have kept my impulse responses, or IRs for short. I can also leave links in the description for some free ones as well. This Le Cab amp simulator is free also. It'll be in the links as well. I've already made a preset out of all my guitar settings, so I don't have to do all this stuff again, but for the sake of example, I'm going to show you. So here are a bunch of different free impulses that I've accumulated, but I'm just going to use the ones that I always use. Let's just go with one of these, because why not? And I'll use this one because I use that one a lot. So there's our cabinet, and we have got some settings here. Oh, it's got a delay, it's got a phase, and mostly I want to look at the high pass and low pass. The head here. Let's put this on the gain channel. And let's just hear what this sounds like real quick. Okay, so it's sounding a little bit better. So I'm just going to raise volume on this a little bit. Okay, now I can hear it a little bit better. The low pass is good for removing high-pitched hiss and fizz that you don't want in there. And the high pass is good for removing muddiness and like low-end rumble that doesn't need to be there. So let's just hear what that sounds once we start applying that. So right there in that particular instance, it doesn't really need a high pass or low pass filter, but those tools are there in case you do need them. In that section of the song, the hiss is a little bit more noticeable. So that's when pulling this back, I think, took away some of that harshness out, and that helps. Okay, so now let's go back into the amp and mess with these settings. And just like with the high pass and low pass, it's really going to be a matter of judgment and of the particular situation, and going to be up to personal taste. But what I like to do is lower the mids a little bit. And this particular amp has separated the low mids and the high mids, and it has treble and presence. So generally you want to lower the mids and then raise the treble a bit. Well, since this amp has some separate things, I'm going to lower the low mids and actually raise the high mids and raise the treble and see how that sounds. So that's sounding pretty good. Let's see if I raise the presence a little bit. Once I raised the presence, I noticed a little bit of hiss coming back in there, and I don't want that. I used to want to always have my tone super bright, but I realized that it was much more important to have your tone under control. So no hiss and no low end farting around all over the place. You want to have it sound very clean, and if you start raising things too much, like the presence, and if you don't watch the bass, then things can get out of control easily. And this guitar tone that we have right here sounds pretty good. Now, if you want to make your tone sound a little bit more genty, then what you can do is use another free plugin, which is a tube screamer. Put it in the very front of your load order, drivers all the way down, put the volume all the way up, and lower the drive on the amp, and let the pedal do some of that distortion work. I find that raising the tone here on this pedal actually sounds better than using the treble or the presence sometimes, so definitely experiment with that. But there's something that you can do to get a different kind of tone and make it sound a little bit tighter and gentler. So you might be thinking to yourself, Kane, this guitar tone doesn't sound that great. I mean, it's sounding kind of thin and needs a little bit something more. Well, half of the guitar tone is actually going to come from your bass once you record that. But the other thing that we can do to make the guitar tone sound super amazing is actually record the exact same thing 2 times and then pan one of the tracks left and one of the tracks right. So right now I've been playing just one of the guitar tracks that I previously recorded. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this one all the way left. I'm going to copy the settings that I have on this track, and I'm going to paste them over here. I already have stuff on here from before, but I'm just going to take that off and put that back on there so it sounds the same. And for the sake of example, I'm going to unmute this and now listen to what this sounds like with both guitar tracks in there. starting to sound a lot better, huh? This is actually still sounding a bit empty to me, but that's just because I have the bass muted right now. So to get an idea of what it sounds like in a full mix, I've unmuted the track that I've used as the bass, which is actually a guitar that I pitch shifted down and then applied bass effects to. Just a little cheat that I like to use whenever I'm doing rough drafts of songs like this. But yeah, let's listen to how it would sound more or less in a full mix. Sounds pretty damn epic, and you know, it's not even, I haven't even applied compression or EQ or some of the other things that I like to do on the guitar tracks. You know, it's still all raw. The drums haven't been mixed either. Yeah, I don't have any effects on there other than the drum samples, and it's sounding pretty damn good. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful, and this has been Kane from Kane Studios. If you want to contact me to do any kind of recording, either in person or maybe send me your recordings like your DI guitar tracks here for me to then work on, then feel free to send me an email or use one of the links in the description and find me there. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.